Most people never get into property because of two excuses: not enough time or not enough money. I had both of these problems, yet in 2023, I purchased 13 properties in 1 year. And now I'm going to break down exactly how you can do the same. Make sure you stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to share something that completely changed my business, a resource that takes all of the boring, time-wasting tasks off your plate. And once you have this, scaling your property business becomes 10 times easier. So when I started out my property journey, I was working full-time in a call center, and I was working from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday. I built my property business on the side of working that full-time job, and I just slowly built my portfolio. But I used to do one purchase a year, maybe two a year maximum. It was very slow at the start, and it really did feel like a snowball. Once I got things going, I did gain a lot of momentum. But I remember I was on 5 properties, and I said to myself, Luigi, you need to have a big year. So when I got to the point where I owned 5 properties, that was when I actually left the call center role. I went full-time into property. Now I had time. However, I knew that if I really wanted to aggressively purchase in that year, I needed to have the right systems in place, because the way I was doing it before, it wouldn't have worked. I needed to really think about how can I scale up in the right way. So I can remember it was the end of 2022. It was around November, December times, and I was sitting down in a cafe. It was cold. It was actually breakfast time. I was sitting there with my mentor. Now my mentor, he's what you call a big fish. He's got student blocks. He's got commercial properties. He owns a warehouse. He owns over 300 properties in Nottingham. And I was sitting down with him and I was asking him, I said to him, I really want to scale up. I really want to have a massive year. I want this year to be my biggest year yet. And I want to purchase 10 properties this year. And he said to me, okay, cool, well, talk to me about what's going on in the business. So we was talking, and we came to the realization that I was struggling with time. I didn't have enough time to actually do the amount of viewings that I needed to do to buy 10 very good deals in that year. So what I decided to do was to hire a commission-only property sourcer. I hated sourcers at that time. I thought, no, I do not want to work with any property sourcers. I'd worked with them in the past and I just had a bad experience. So what I did was I looked at my immediate surroundings, and my gut feeling was telling me the person that was doing my admin at that time, I'd trained her up. I'd showed her exactly how I do business, how to find deals, how to run the numbers. So she knew what to do. So I just thought, ping, it was a light bulb moment. And I just thought, okay, I'm gonna give her a role as a commission-only property sourcer. So anytime she found me a deal, she got paid £2,000 from the rental income. So once we'd purchased the property, renovated it, I would pay her from the actual rental income. So that's something you guys can do, is outsource the time-consuming tasks in your business, such as property viewings. The other way to do it is you can use something called Viewbar. Now, I recommend a lot of my students that are working 9-to-5 jobs, or they're in like a high-paid role. A lot of my students are in London and they just lack time, don't have the time to go to different cities. Sometimes the properties are 2 hours away from where one of my students lives, for example. So they can't physically go there. It's just not feasible to go there all the time. I recommend them to outsource the viewings to Viewbar. Now, how Viewbar works is it's an application. You download it onto your phone and you pay around £40 to £70 per viewing, depending on what package you go for. But essentially, someone else will do the viewing for you. They'll give you a report and they'll actually give you detailed photos and videos so you can see the exact condition of the property. That's all you need, and you can stack up the numbers on your end. That's a great thing you can do. It will free up your time, and I would fully recommend it. What I'm going to do for you is in the description of this video, I'm going to put a link to Viewbar so you can download that. I don't get any commission from them. Maybe I should, but I don't. But check them out, guys. Following on from this conversation with my mentor, the other bottleneck in my business at that time was lack of funds. I didn't have enough money personally, so I knew I needed to work with investors and joint venture partners. But how I was doing it for the first 5 deals, they weren't joint ventures. The first 5 deals was a combination of my own funds and private investor finance, where an investor would borrow me £50,000 and I would pay them back £50,000 with a 10% interest rate on top of their investment. So they'd give me 50K, they'd get back 55K over a 1-year period. So they made 10% interest on their money, which was okay. However, it was very stressful for me because I had to pay back these investors. Luckily, guys, I managed to do some very good deals where I was pulling out all of the money or most of the money on all of these deals. It just about worked. However, it was very scary, and I realized it's not the best strategy for me to scale up with. So I thought, What else can I do? And that's when we was discussing structuring it differently with those investors, because I had a lot of people that was watching me on YouTube, watching me on social media, reaching out to me. I knew investors. I had connections with investors. I was just structuring it in the wrong way. So what I did was I changed the structure and we did a joint venture instead of the fixed return model. So the joint venture model is where they would fund 100% of the deal. Myself and my team would do all of the work from start to finish. We'd find the property deal, we'd manage the full renovation process from start to finish, and we would manage the handover to social housing providers, or if it was a working professional, HMO, we would manage the property managers. So we would do all of the work and the investor would just fund the deal. That massively helped me to buy 13 properties in a year, and that is something you can do as well. Joint ventures. I fully recommend joint ventures over the fixed return model. In my opinion, if you wanted to do 13 property purchases using the fixed return model, you would be at massive risk because you have to pay the investors back. And that is very dangerous and stressful. You're playing with people's money, which is never good. So another massive bottleneck in the business, something that was holding me back from scaling up, was when I was doing renovations, I was using individual tradespeople. So I can remember working with a separate electrician, a separate painter, a separate plasterer. They weren't working in conjunction with each other, not working together as a team at all. I would get the renovations done and they would be decent, but it just wasn't that polished finish what I wanted. And as well, it was taking me much longer to use individual tradespeople, and I had certain friends that were in the property game as well. They was using build teams and they was getting deals done much quicker and less headaches as well. Because when you're working with individual tradespeople, it can become extremely headachy. They're not cleaning up after each other, they're arguing with each other. You have to get the timings correct on when the painter's coming in, the plasterer, the plumber. You have to really put in a lot of time, and it was holding me back from scaling up. I remember my mentor, me, sitting down and we were speaking about this, and he was recommending that I get a very good build team. So that's what I did. I shopped around, I did a lot of hunting because I made it my mission to find a very good build team. And my criteria was this: I needed them to be trustworthy, I needed them to give me good payment terms. They didn't want money up front because I'm not willing to risk my joint venture partners' funds at all. I also needed a team that had a track record when it comes to HMOs. So people that have done lots of HMO conversions, because that was my main strategy. That is still my main strategy, is HMOs. I wanted a team that was fast. I needed them to be able to do a full-on HMO conversion in 2-3 months max. I also needed a team that was competent, that didn't need hand-holding, and that could just crack on and get renovations done. And also a team that could work with building control. Building control is like the governing body. They oversee your renovations. When it comes to quite complex things in your renovation, you have to engage building control. So I needed the build team to meet all of these criteria. So I shopped around. Eventually I found a very good build team, and it massively helped me to scale up. To be honest with you, if I didn't have this good build team, there's no way I would have been able to do these 13 purchases. That's something you can do, is find an extremely good build team, shop around. I'd recommend you look online, look at their reviews, look on Trustpilot, on Google reviews, find someone that they've actually worked with, and also see their work. Try and ask them if you can go to their projects, or if they can send you detailed videos and photos of some of their renovations that they've done in the past. This is what I'd recommend. It will help you to scale up. So from spending a lot of time with my mentor, I just realized that his work ethic was up here. And also, he had no distractions. So I was speaking with him and we just was speaking very freely and was just saying like, look, whatever's distracting you, Luigi, you need to just cut it out. And he was showing me a lot of tough love, and I appreciated that from him. And I realized that there were certain things I was doing that just wasn't serving me. When I was 19 years old, my kickboxing coach at the time, his name was Paul Semtex Daly. If you follow MMA, you might have seen him before. He was in the UFC and he was a very famous UK fighter. He told me one thing, and it always stuck with me. He said, Luigi, you need to focus on the basics. Get your sleep right, eat right, train hard every day, but also focus on the jab. Focus on your right hand, focus on your leg kick. And what he was saying here, guys, was you need to focus on the basics. And if you have the basics taken care of, everything else will look after itself and you will hit your goals. This really resonated with me and I implemented it into my property business. With my property business, I'm making sure that I'm looking after me and I've got all my basics taken care of, and that does help the business. Eliminating distractions, is massive, and being obsessed with self-development. What I'm telling you, this is probably the most important thing you can do if you really want to scale up your property business. Now, maybe you've got all of this stuff done already. You're not out there partying. You're not out there wasting time with friends that are just dragging you down. Maybe you're doing all of this, and that's great. Continue to do it. For me, I needed to eliminate distractions, and that's what I did, and that's what helped me scale. So it will definitely help you implement this tip as well. So the fifth and final thing you can do to scale up your property business is hire a VA. A VA stands for virtual assistant. And what they can do is they can take care of a lot of time-consuming tasks. So if you are struggling with time, then a VA, I would massively recommend it for you. So I've had a VA for the last 4 years. They do things like all of the admin tasks, they do invoicing, they chase contractors, they do spreadsheets, they do social media posts. You can really train them to do a lot of different tasks for you. A lot of my students use a VA for outreaching to different social housing providers. A lot of my students do rent-to-rent social housing and rent-to-rent temporary accommodation. So they outreach to a lot of different providers and councils. So they use the VA to help them with that. So they're calling the councils, the providers. You can give your VA a UK phone number as well. There's tons you can do with having a VA. I just want you to remember this. You are gonna have to do a lot of training with your virtual assistant. It's not like you can hire a VA and then you can just kick back, go on holiday, put your feet up and drink cocktails on the beach all day. No, it doesn't work like that. You're gonna have to put in a lot of training, especially in the early days whilst they're coming on board into your business and you're onboarding them. When it comes to paying the VA, a lot of people think, oh, it's just gonna be expensive, it's gonna cost me grands per month. No, hiring a VA can be extremely cost effective. I know someone that on my program who's got a VA for £200 a month. Now, they're not full time, but they work a lot of hours. A VA will normally live in India, in Africa, in Philippines, so they're not in the UK. All right, so they are going to be overseas. Usually you're going to pay them between £200 all the way up until £1,000. Now, my VA, we pay them £850 per month. I have given them pay rises over time, and I'll probably continue to do so because I am a firm believer in as you grow, you need to grow with your team. So you need to make sure your team is compensated. If your income's massively going up, look after your team, pay them well. But if you are starting out, you can get very cheap VAs basically. The best way to hire an extremely good VA is by interviewing a lot of VAs. On onlinejobs.ph, you put a job advert out there, make it as detailed as possible, and then people will reach out to you and you will interview them on Zoom. So my VA that's been with me for around 4 years now, I found her by interviewing 10 different people, different candidates from onlinejobs.ph, just went ahead with the best candidate, which was her. She's been very loyal, and you will find that people in different countries, a lot of them will have extremely high work ethics. So you can find a very hardworking VA that can join your business and it will help you to scale up. Ultimately, it will free up your time so you can focus on more high value income generating tasks. I really do hope you implement these tips because if you're following my channel, I do actually want to see you winning. One of my students, called Shahir, he had such a lack of time. He really didn't have any time. He lived in London. He was working a very good corporate job, in a high up corporate position. He really was struggling with time. He wanted to buy in Nottinghamshire, he wanted to do social housing, and I worked with him, and now he's on his 3rd or 4th HMO social housing deal, currently purchasing multiple deals at one time, and he's really scaling up whilst working full time in this corporate position. But he's used these tips. I worked very closely with him, helped him to outsource all the time consuming tasks, helped him to systemize and now ultimately scale up. So his properties, they're earning him over £1,500 net profit per month. All of them, they're all making more than that, and he's killing it. So I'm really proud of him. Now guys, if you want to be like Shahir or you want to join my training and mentorship program, it is application only. But if you want to find out if you're eligible, you can click on the link in the description of this video. It says get mentored by me. Click on that link. You can book in a call with my team. They'll run through everything with you and see if the training and mentorship program is the right fit for yourself. Also, if you need a mortgage broker, I've got your back. Mortgage Style, they are the best in the game. It's who I use for all of my bridges, my buy-to-lets, my refinances. Mortgage Style, they're very, very good. So I recommend them. Link is in the description of this video. I've had 5 different brokers tell me no, but Mortgage Style tell me yes. Check them out. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this vid. Share it, comment, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys for the next video.